We continue our discussion about the recent polls showing a massive, massive slide in the all-important swing states in favor of Donald Trump after the debate. Nancy Pelosi is beginning to get wobbly. Hakeem Jeffries is the Democrat minority leader. And apparently there's going to be some meeting with Democrat governors with Joe Biden either today or tomorrow, where they're going to express their concerns. And I'm, as I said, watching CNN, MSNBC, Hee-Haw. And one Democrat said, look, if you're talking about getting rid of Biden and the first name out of your mouth to replace him is not Kamala Harris, you are going to lose black voters. Hello? I wrote that 3 years ago. It is. It's done. If it's not Biden, it's Kamala Harris. And by the way, her numbers have gone up a little bit in at least one poll. So if the argument is that she does worse than Joe Biden against Donald Trump, that is increasingly not the case. So there's absolutely no argument that the Democratic Party can make, given the incessant emphasis on race and gender, to get rid of Kamala Harris. She checks all the boxes, which is why she was there in the first place. James Clyburn, who endorsed Joe Biden after Bernie Sanders won the Nevada caucuses in 2020 and extracted a promise from Joe Biden that his first Supreme Court nominee would be a black female, recently said, I'd be okay with Kamala Harris. That's not a good sign if you're Joe Biden. It's also not a good sign if you're anybody other than Kamala Harris. You think that if and when Joe Biden steps aside, you have a shot. Which is why Gavin Newsom has never said he wants to be president. We all know he does. We also know he knows what I know. And that is the only way he does so is to step over Kamala Harris. And that would be an absolute disaster. That plus he's not popular even here in California. He's underwater. Underwater. States losing people. Budgets a shambles. We talked about the other day the $20 minimum wage hike that he signed, which cost so far 10,500 jobs. And that was some time ago. I'm sure more have been lost since then. So what is Gavin Newsom's argument going to be? And for all the people who told us, these Republicans, what they do is they find some little snippet of Joe Biden where he stumbles in a speech and they put it on a tweet and makes it look like he's babbling like a moron all day, when in fact, for the most part, he's sharp as a tack. You should see him in private meetings. My God, he gets on top of details. Shrewd guy, a lot of experience. Has negotiated with every major foreign leader. You ought to see him in action. Oh, boy. And of course, big, fat lie. Now, I'll tell you why they've lied. Because it doesn't matter whether he's feeble. It doesn't matter whether he's mentally declining. Because 75% of his top 100 staffers when he became president came out of where? The Obama administration. As far as I know, and I could be wrong, I can't think of a single modern president who, after he left office, bought a house in Washington, D.C. and spent a lot of time there. Yeah, Obama has a place in Martha's Vineyard. He's got a place in Hawaii. But he also bought a house in D.C. Why? Because he's in charge. All the stuff that Obama wanted to do that he didn't do, in part because he's black. Obama did not want to be perceived as a president for black people. So this nonsense about reparations, about DEI, he couldn't push it. He wanted to. Relieving student debt, he wanted to. Now he's able to do it through Joe Biden. So the fact that Privately, they always knew that he was feeble. Privately, they always knew that he was diminishing. Didn't matter. As long as he could stay upright, fog up a mirror, go in the office for a few hours a day, good to go. We'll take the rest of it. You're having people like Carl Bernstein. Carl Bernstein was part of Woodward Bernstein, that famous duo, to help bring down Richard Nixon. He has, over the years, outed himself as an in-your-face, hard lefty. Even he is now a senior CNN analyst, and even he's having some real concerns about Joe Biden.
So, Carl, according to the people you've been talking to, what are you hearing?
Well, these are people, several of them, who are very close to President Biden, who love him, have supported him, have been among them are some people who have raised a lot of money for him. And they are adamant that what we saw the other night, the Joe Biden we saw, is not a one-off, that there have been 15, 20 occasions in the last year and a half when the president has appeared somewhat as he did in that horror show that we witnessed.
15 or 20 occasions in the last year? Now, this guy is an investigative reporter. Why didn't he say something? If this has happened 15 or 20 times last year, nobody busted him? Nobody went forward and said, hey, wait a second, this guy's not there. I've witnessed him in private meetings. He is just not there. Because it didn't matter. They're getting their agenda. Climate change, democracy is on the ballot, DEI, race-based preferences, attacking Israel, throwing Israel under the bus, attacking Bibi Netanyahu. This is the stuff they wanted. And Joe Biden was a convenient conduit to get it through. And it didn't matter that Kamala Harris was vacuous. In fact, it's an advantage. Sits around and talks about things like, this is a historical fact. And the fact is that history will note that facts are historical when they're part of history. What? Okay, Kamala, it's all good. Your job is just to stand there, and in the event that Joe Biden collapses, you take over, and then we'll still make sure that you follow our agenda. So it didn't matter. Carl Bernstein, investigative reporter. I'm talking to people, and they're telling me that this is par for the course. He's been like this 15, 20 times in the last year. And notice the CNN analyst did not turn to him and say, excuse me, Mr. Bernstein, I thought you were an investigative journalist. You're telling me you just now found this out? You're just now learning this? Where have you been? And the answer is, he always knew it. And they always knew it. They did not believe that Joe Biden would be so foolish as to debate Donald Trump if he couldn't do better. But he was. An absolute disaster. I mean, Minnesota might be in play. Colorado might be in play. Up 7 points in Pennsylvania. Are you kidding me? Up in Wisconsin? Even New Jersey? So they've got to do something. The problem is Jill Biden. Not Joe, but Jill. Jill loves being First Lady. Hunter Biden has been attending meetings in the White House. Wait a minute. Breaking news. A convicted felon in the White House? Say it ain't so. So he has also been advising his father not to drop out. Now, some people are saying that the reason he's advising his father not to drop out is because he wants his father to pardon him. Well, the pardon can happen anytime. He can do it right now. He could do it a month from now. If he manages to make it to November, Joe Biden, and loses, he could do it between that race and January when he leaves. Plenty of time to pardon Hunter. No, he wants his dad to be president. He urged his father to run back in 2016. By the way, you know who tried to talk him out of running in 2016? Barack Obama. You know who tried to talk him out of running in 2020? Barack Obama. There's a book called Game Change, written by a guy named John Heilemann and Mark Halperin. Mark Halperin now appears on places like Newsmax. So I don't know quite what happened to him. He used to be a liberal. Anyway, in his book, he quotes Barack Obama as saying, "How many times is Joe Biden going to say something stupid?" End of quote. There has never been any real appreciation of Joe Biden on the part of Barack Obama or Michelle. Biden always thought he was dumb. They've always faked this friendship they supposedly have. They don't. And when David Axelrod a little while ago came out and said we ought to replace Joe Biden, he did so at the behest of Barack Obama. He never would have said it if Barack Obama hadn't given the okay, and Joe knows it. So there's no love lost between the two of them. Larry Oda sitting in for Dennis.
For the full episode of The Dennis Prager Show, go to pragertopia.com, sign up, and become a full member.